Hey y'all, and wow, oh wow, what an update! Honestly, Craig's been teasing us about this new mechanic for the past couple of weeks now. I think he's dropped it in like um, a couple of sentences in the announcements or other minor updates, I believe. But I did not expect it to be as huge as this. Now, before I dive into my thoughts about the nuke mechanic and just a bit about how it works, I wanted to take some time to remind you guys to please subscribe and leave a like down below. Would really appreciate it. I'm going to skip the drop of the video for this one because I'm just making this. It's been 5 hours since the release has gone live, so I just want to make this quick video to tell you guys how just how it works and my initial thoughts on the mechanic. So if you guys haven't heard already, Karuta released a major bombshell of an update about 5 years ago. Or sorry, 5 years ago. 5 hours ago, it's Friday noon for me in PST, where cards can now finally be interacted with. Bringing together in a full circle this waifu-esque game where you can actually begin to talk and date and propose and become lovers with lovers with the waifu of your dreams. Now, to preface, this video isn't really about how the mechanic works. It's not really a tutorial on the affection system in general. That'll probably be my next video or the one after I get to play around with it just a bit more. But I just wanted to make this as initial thoughts and impressions on the whole thing. Just to give a very short description of the update, because this video is just about my thoughts and opinions. You can find this description of the update in the major updates channel in Karuta Hub. But basically, you can now use a command to visit and talk and date a card in your collection. And it has to be a card that you grabbed. And by doing those actions, you can build up something called an affection rating. I'm just going to pull up here. I think I did a couple earlier. But yeah, you K-visit in the card code, and then this card code has to be a card that you dropped yourself, and it gives you this window where you can then visit them, and you can answer a bunch of questions or whatnot to increase their affection rating, which is simply it's kind of like a rating of how much the character likes you, with a max rating of 200. After reaching a certain amount of rating and playing the new minigame to get a ring, you can then propose and eventually marry this character, and you become the character's only koibito in the game. I think it's called. Let me go back to here. There's a new channel called Gopito Activity, and someone actually became Oddish's koibito like an hour after the update, which is kind of interesting. But the Kobito of that card, let me pull up the updates again to kind of run through this, just means that essentially you are like kind of the main lover or main person associated with that card. You have the ability to give it a new alias or like a name, a nickname, or apply different trims, or which essentially just adds visual additions to the card itself, like floating hearts. What was it? Let me pull it up. Starfields, electricity, floating hearts, and all that. So it's kind of a visual addition. This is kind of like a little list of things, so you can see like the background can change color. There's like little wishy-washy star things across different cards. It's just really interesting and cute. I think it's kind of cool. And being the Kobito of the character also gives you certain things such as immunity from injury, the ability to visit and date cards you haven't grabbed. It's all very complicated. I'm getting the hang of it, so I'll make videos soon about it, but that's just the gist of how it works. But just in general, I haven't been around in the community for as long as a lot of people. But this is the biggest update I've seen yet. It's a massive update, and I think it really affects Karuta fundamentally in a whole new way. I think the premise is this, right? Karuta has inherently always been about collecting your favorite cards and showing them off in some way or form. If you really enjoyed the anime Naruto, maybe your focus was to get a low print edition to Naruto with a decent stat. After collecting the card, you'd maybe buy a gem frame, slap it on there. If you're feeling spicy, you'd buy a shadow glass, and then maybe morph it, call it a day. And that was it. Every other mechanic was simply a function to build that card, making your cards look better and having others appreciate your card. And to me, that was incredibly linear. I feel like there wasn't much about that. Although it was fun, that was limited in a way that you could only do one task. This, affection mechanic fills that gap, and that I feel like has played the game for a while, and that is a lack of engagement with not only the cards you have spent so long building up for, but engagement with a game that doesn't really rely on other people. In all senses, there was never really something you can do with Karuta that didn't involve people in some way. And I'm sorry, the bot is down right now, and there's nothing really to see. I'm just recording this for initial impression, but the clan system, trading, all that. There is always some sort of multiplayer and multi-person faceted role in all the actions that you take. There's never really a thing you did alone, and I guess you can count drop as alone, but even then, getting toughness revolves around dropping the card in a major public server with a lot of people. Now, the affection system provides that single player experience, and although it's not that much, I think the minigame, interaction with every card in the game, getting to talk with them, all that dialogue, it's a step forward. It's a step forward, not only making Karuta a more multifaceted game, but a step forward in creating new goals and milestones for players, which is what really drives and incentivizes people to play in the first place and do more with the game and push the game to more heights. And before this update, all you really did was you go to a big public server like Karuta Kit or Karuta XO. You would enter in like I don't think they have any right now, but you'd enter in a card competition or something, or flex your album through a channel, which isn't really much, and have people wow at the fact that you have a single digit print card with a gem frame, and that's it. And every once in a while you pull that card back out again to flex for people. People never really interacted with their card, and having the card just meant you played a lot or had a lot of money or whatever. And I think this appreciation or this affection update really just brings that fourth dimension to the game with solo play that will, one, give more players things to do in the game. I think after a while your main objective just becomes trading around for new dies or cards or to flip things, but now there's just more. In all senses, there's just more things to do with Karuta. Now this really locks down this concept of Karuta being a waifu collector bot. People now have the incentive and motivation to become the ultimate simp for a single card. Like this guy, right? To become Kobito of a Oddish like an hour after the update. Like this guy has had to have grabbed like 6 Oddishes and like know every like trivia about Oddish there is. Like that's just fun. Like it made me laugh and I was entertained. Like this guy likes Oddish and he is the Kobito of Oddish. When you KLU Oddish right now will show up. And this guy, it's right here, and it's so funny. I think it really just locks down this concept of Karuta become a waifu collector bot. To be dropping a lot more just for extra copies of your favorite card to build affection, or being a Kobito and collecting every copy of your waifu or card, whatever, regardless of whether or not you dropped it. It just brings more to the game that really just makes the experience so much more dynamic. Now, the leaderboard command will also, I feel like, bring community together just a bit more. I think in the current state of the game, there may be a couple people that you recognize from trading from big popular servers like admins or whatnot. I think the leaderboard command for high wishlist people, because it also includes like different things like people that have rings and people that are broken up with. I know this might be confusing, but I'll explain in another video, but there's just more people visible from a public standpoint, and that, in my opinion, will open a gateway for people to recognize, connect, and compete with people that also have the same love for a certain character in the same way that you do. I expect to see more servers for just one character pop up for all questions and guides, and competitions just for a single character with different morphs and trims and aliases, and maybe even economy for certain prices of a certain character to change in ways that we haven't even begun to see yet, and we can't even begin to imagine, like a Gojo server or a Nezuko server, and just have people build a community around that card. And the cosmetics of the card is also something that I have not mentioned too much about, that is also worth mentioning. Aliases are cool. I think it provides a unique touch to the card, and gives it more of a personal vibe. And the trims are also really cool. I think just adds more and more personalization. I hope it's not too much. I haven't seen it yet. I really hope it's not too much, but having that flexibility is cool, and I think people will appreciate that. And yeah, and now I'm just gonna move on to some of the cons I feel like about the system. I think it both sucks and is scary that there is really just one Kobito, and having a monopoly on the advantages that come with a very popular card, like come with being a Kobito, a very popular card, um, might damage the economy, especially a high wishlist character, but we'll see that going forward. We don't really know the churn rate and the turnover for being a Kobito. I can see it being more balanced in a way that is healthy to the economy if the churn rate and all that is really fast, like every like 2 hours, like it switches off or whatever. I don't know how it's gonna work. Obviously it's only been a couple hours, but in my opinion, I think it should maybe be like 10. I think a leaderboard of 10 still makes it feel like you are special, like you are someone who really cares about the character, but also gives more people the opportunity to enjoy the features that come with becoming a Koibito. Another con is the fact that you have had to grab a card in order to interact it with in a way. Everything that I just said earlier in the video is void if you haven't even grabbed the card, which kind of sucks. I understand why they do that. I really do. I think it's, if it wasn't grabbed, it wouldn't have that factor of being special, and there wouldn't be much of an incentive for people to work for being a Koibito because everyone can be one. But it just, before the update, cards that I was moderately interested in that I've grabbed with a high wish list, I sold because I didn't care much for it and I wanted the tickets. Now, if I pull up my like grab collection here, like why? Sorry, they're talking right now. There's only like one page of characters over 10k or 1k that I have, which is not that much, even though I've been playing for a while, because I've sold cards and I didn't know that I needed to keep cards that I grabbed, so it just kind of sucks. In addition, I think that the economy is going to be negatively impacted in at least some way. There's going to be less demand for cards you didn't drop yourself and all of that. So yeah, that kind of limits the interaction a good amount, but I understand why they did it. But I just wish there was some sort of balance or negotiation with that. In addition, people with more gems and time on their hands have an advantage here, but that's with every game, to be honest. It's also pretty detrimental to newer players. They don't have as much options to build affection, while other players have multiple copies grabbed of a certain character. But that's just natural. That comes with playing the game. All in all, I think that the update was a much needed refresher to the game. Like, it was getting a little bit stale, but I think this has been really fun so far. The past couple hours I've been playing, I've already bought the blessing. There's a new blessing, by the way. And although I believe it does have minor flaws, the mechanic itself has obviously been well thought out, very well thought out. Especially with the questions, like, wow, I didn't really think of like machine learning and trying to like have a set number of questions for each character and having us choose the best answers for each is kind of cool. But it's well positioned to be a primary focus in the game of Karuta. I think it really gives players something to work for, to prove that you are a ultimate patron of the character or card, and just give people that single player experience that a lot of people crave. There's also flaws that come with that, but I believe that Craig with and the team, alongside feedback from the players, and a lot of people are giving out feedback right now, which I appreciate. This is a sign of an active community, and I think this will impact decisions going forward, whether it be explicit or not. But it just in overall will make the mechanic more polished and ironed out in the coming weeks. I'm excited to see what's next for affection and the bot in general. So yeah, feel free to let me know if you guys have any thoughts about it in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about the new affection system? Initial impressions. Yeah, hopefully this helped just a little bit think through how the mechanic works, and I'll see you guys in the next one.